I never expected love to bloom when he chose the simple beauty over the glamorous. I will never forget the day everything fell apart. The moment my world shattered. A cacophony of disbelief washed over me as I stood in the dilapidated café, the air thick with the rich scent of ground coffee and fresh pastries. My heart raced, thumping in my chest like a frantic drum. I had come here searching for answers, as if the walls would reveal my fate etched in the cracked paint, but all I found was him. Liam, with his tousled hair and those striking green eyes, which sparkled with a strange mix of rebellion and warmth. A soft breeze swept through the open window, rustling the pages of the newspaper on the table beside me. I caught flashes of bold headlines about love scandals and betrayal, but none compared to the turmoil brewing inside me, because there he sat, laughing with her. Priya, the dazzling girl with the perfect smile and a glimmering dress that caught the light like jewels. They were radiant together, a golden aura that made the rest of us around them mere shadows. My heart clenched. I was the simple beauty, the one who always felt like an afterthought. I had loved Liam from the moment we met, through sleepless nights and shared dreams. Yet, here I was an outsider, peering through the glass wall of their joy. Their laughter felt like shards of glass, slicing through my hope. The café buzzed with murmurs, patrons glancing with curiosity at our three-way tragedy. I could practically hear the sighs of my friends trying to soothe my aching heart. Kara, always known for her kind words, and James, with his protective demeanor. But right then, they all faded. I could see only the way Liam leaned closer to Priya, his hand brushing lightly against hers. Time warped around us. I wanted to scream, to shake him awake from this ridiculous fantasy. But my voice faltered, entangled in the weight of longing. Then suddenly, Priya laughed loudly, turning heads, and something within me snapped. I curled my fingers into a fist, trembling with a surge of emotion. Wasn't it enough to be true? To be real? I cursed the cosmos for placing this barrier between us. Yet there I was trapped, powerless. Tears threatened to spill, blurring my vision. I had to leave, to escape this twisted tableau that crushed my soul. I stood, my breath hitching as the sound of my chair scraping against the floor broke the moment. Liam looked up, his eyes locking onto mine for the briefest second, shock etched across his features. Confusion clouded his gaze. Had he sensed my pain? So many questions swirled like a storm within me. I turned to flee, but my knees felt weak. His voice called after me, slicing through the din like a lifeline. Wait. The urgency pierced through the anguish, freezing me in my tracks. Would he follow? Would he choose me? The tension crackled, hearts racing around us in a whirlwind of whispered judgments. I looked back, my heart hanging in the balance, and there it was, the flicker of truth in Liam's eyes, a promise waiting to be unraveled. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As I stood there, frozen between worlds, my heart clawing its way to the surface, I felt the weight of every moment I had held on to, every laugh we shared, every secret whispered in dim light. I could feel the ground beneath me pulsing with anticipation, but the heartbeat was nothing compared to the storm brewing inside me. The echo of his voice, "Wait," hung in the air, thick and poignant. In that split second, I was torn between the siren call of hope and the gravity of despair. Did he really want me to stay? Was there even a chance he felt something similar? My mind swirled with questions as I tentatively turned back to face him, but all I found was a cloud of doubt gathering in the warm sunlight streaming through the cafe window. Liam and Priya still hovered together, blissfully unaware, locked in their own world, while I stood on the precipice of an emotional abyss, the cafe felt even more suffocating now, the whispers and side-eye glances amplifying my anguish. I heard a distant clink of cups, the soft chatter of conversation blending into a deafening roar. Just a breath away was the possibility of love, the love I yearned for, yet somehow it felt more ephemeral than the steam curling up from my untouched cup of coffee. Before I could process my own thoughts, my body reacted instinctively, pulling me back towards the nearest exit. A whirring cyclone of fear propelled me through the door and out into the street. Once outside, I stumbled forward, adrenaline coursing through my veins, blurring my vision with each hurried step. But my escape was short-lived. A warm hand gripped my arm, causing me to spin around sharply. It was Kara, her face painted with concern. "You don't have to do this alone," she breathed, her eyes pleading for me to confide in her. I wanted to cry, to let the molten emotions burn my soul clean, but the words caught in my throat. Instead, I turned my gaze toward the ground, unable to meet her sympathizing eyes. A gentle breeze blew past us, rustling the leaves of a nearby tree. It felt like a whisper of comfort, a reminder that resilience could blossom even in the darkest of places. Kara's grip softened as she tilted my chin up, coaxing me to look into her steadfast eyes. "Tell me what you're feeling, please. I'm here," and I cared that I wanted to spill everything, the turmoil, the heartache, the anger at the twist of fate that put Liam and Priya at the center of my universe. Instead, I managed a weak smile. "I just can't seem to figure out what's real and what's not anymore." "I thought I knew where I stood," Kara nodded knowingly, a tender warmth enveloping us. "It's hard to see clearly when emotions are so tangled. But the truth always finds a way." Just then, a commotion erupted behind us. I turned to glimpse a familiar figure bursting through the cafe door. It was Liam. His brows knitted together in a frantic expression as he called my name. My heart kicked against my ribcage, an electrifying mix of fear and hope surging through me. Would he confront me? Would he finally make a choice? He started toward me, determination etched on his handsome face, but then Priya emerged behind him, a cascade of brilliance, smirking as if she had some secret knowledge. My heart sank as Liam's eyes flicked uncertainly between us, caught in an indecisive storm. "Clara, please," he said, and my name was like a prayer on his lips. "I need to talk to you." Now that I in that moment, time slowed yet again, the world around us morphing into a sea of uncertainty. A small shred of hope ignited in my chest, but it felt fragile, like a bubble ready to burst. I could see the questions swirling silently in Priya's gaze, an ice-cold challenge that dared me to stand my ground. As I opened my mouth to respond, the ground beneath me seemed to shift. My heart thudded loudly, drowning out the sounds around me. Suddenly, my phone buzzed with a notification, breaking the tension. I glanced instinctively. One single word illuminated the screen and sent shards of ice coursing through my veins: "Run." Stunned, I looked back at Liam. The urgency in his eyes met my bewilderment, laying bare the truth that this was far from over. A revelation I hadn't anticipated loomed just beyond our reach, and now, more than ever, I felt like I was teetering on the edge of everything. The space between my heart and the chaos swirling around me felt impossibly vast. Shock gripped me as I stared at the message on my phone, my mind racing. Run. Who could possibly threaten me in such a seemingly mundane moment? I felt the warmth of Liam's gaze slip away as fear began to creep in. The cafe, my safe haven, transformed into a distorted maze as I succumbed to the claustrophobia of uncertainty. "Clara." Liam called again, but this time it was a desperate plea. I took a step back, my pulse racing at the thought of turning my back on him, on this fleeting chance to confront the mess we had created. The sun hung low in the sky, casting elongated shadows that danced at our feet, taunting me with the choices I was too afraid to make. I turned toward Kara, who stood resolute beside me, confusion etched across her features. "Clara, what's wrong?" she asked, her voice steady but laced with worry. The world felt as if it were tilting, and I grasped at fragments of clarity. I don't know," I stammered, my heart waging war against my instincts. What if something's really wrong? The very idea of running, of leaving Liam without explanation, felt like a betrayal of the love that still flickered within me like a candle struggling against the wind, but the simple act of turning my back only intensified my other fear, the desire to protect myself from a confrontation that could unravel everything. I glanced back at Liam, who was stepping closer, determination still etched on his features, and a pang of longing coursed through me, demanding release. The pulse of something stronger than confusion swirled inside something deeper than mere affection. Kara placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder, grounding me. Listen to your heart, Clara. But listen to your instincts too. We can't afford to ignore the message. Just then, Priya's laughter cut through the tension, a bright but empty sound that echoed like a warning. I caught her gaze as she leaned against the cafe's entrance, arms crossed, and an expression of calculated patience written across her face. She knew something. I could feel it. The smirk on her lips was an unsolvable riddle, intensifying the knots in my stomach. Clara, please, Liam urged, his voice closer now, but the urgency had shifted to a quiet imploring as he reached out. Whatever's happening, we can face it together. Just like we always have. I looked from Liam to Priya, the promise of shared moments clashing against the reality of her smug confidence. But what if? I trailed off, unable to articulate the fear pooling within me. What if he wasn't ready for the truth? What if he chose her over the mess we had made? Don't let her get into your head, Kara said softly, but I saw the concern in her eyes. She was right. Priya was an elegant facade concealing a turbulent storm, and here I stood, caught in the eye of it. The decision weighed heavily. I could see the tension building in Liam's jaw, his patience wearing thin. I could feel Priya's laughter reverberating through my very core, taunting every doubt I harbored. The longer I hesitated, the more the current pulled me under. Suddenly, the message flashed through my mind again. Run. The moment felt electric, a jolt inviting me to act, claim the space that felt utterly mine. Liam, I found my voice steadying, an anchor amidst the chaos, but before I could continue, an unseen force swept through the crowd, a tense rustle that sent a ripple of alarm through the cluster of summer patrons at the cafe. A tall man dressed in dark clothing stepped out of the shadows, his face obscured beneath the brim of a cap. I froze at the sight of him, a familiar figure that had haunted my dreams for months, appearing as if conjured from the depths of my fear. Clara, he called, his voice dripping with recognition. You've kept me waiting. The world around me shivered as realization crashed over me like a wave. He wasn't just anyone. He was a ghost from my past, entwined in a web of consequences I thought I had outrun. I stood rooted, heart racing, torn between running toward Liam's protection or facing the confrontation I had dreaded. Clara. Liam's voice sliced through the tension like glass, raw and filled with confusion. I felt the ground shift again beneath me, the boundaries of my world bending. With every heartbeat, I stood at the threshold of love and fear, staring into the tempest that promised to pull me back into the depths I thought I could leave behind. The cafe's atmosphere shifted, colors dimming as if the sun itself had recoiled from the threat that suddenly loomed between us. I could feel the weight of shadows pressing in, a tangible thickening of the air. The man in the dark clothing took a step forward, his eyes fixed on mine with an intensity that sent shards of ice down my spine. You're still running, aren't you, Clara? He said, his voice a vivid reminder of regret and lost time. Liam made a move, but I caught his arm. Wait, I whispered, trembling. I didn't want to pull him into this dark undertow, yet I felt like a marionette caught in strings I no longer understood. The man's features were obscured, but I could still see the edges of a familiar smirk forming. You didn't think I'd let you go that easily, did you? There was a maliciousness in his tone that wrapped around my heart, squeezing tightly, instilling fear and confusion all at once. Kara stepped slightly in front of me, her presence a shield. Who are you? She demanded boldly, her voice unwavering despite the danger woven into her words. The man's gaze shifted to her, and the smirk widened. Ah, a brave friend. But you've both underestimated what I'm capable of. He gestured vaguely towards the crowd, the warmth of casual summer banter evaporating, leaving only whispers of apprehension. Clara, we need to go, Liam urged, his eyes never leaving mine, anchoring me even as the current tried to pull me away. Please, let's just get out of here, but my legs felt like stone. I can't, I managed, my voice mere breath against the gravity of the moment. The memories surged, images of late-night phone calls, secrets hiding in shadowed corners. His betrayal had left scars I had thought healed. Now they throbbed like fresh wounds beneath the weight of his attention. Come on, Clara, he pressed, a storm of emotion flickering in the depths of his gaze. Your past doesn't control you anymore. You have a life now, don't let him take that away. A flicker of rebellion ignited within me. I had fought so hard to rebuild, to reclaim a future that wasn't haunted by whispered fears. Yet, standing in that café, battling the ghosts of my past, I felt the anchor of darkness tugging me beneath waves of doubt. I'm not running, I said defiantly, drawing on the fire that had sparked within my heart. Not anymore. The man laughed, a sound that was both mocking and chilling. Ah, but you are. Every day, you run from the truth. You can't escape who you are. Would he ever stop? I searched Liam's eyes, desperately seeking reassurance. There was a sobering determination in his expression, as if he were silently challenging the past to show itself. The crowd around us felt like a distant echo, blurred faces shadowing the real struggle happening inside me. You don't know anything about me anymore, I shot back, my voice gaining strength. Oh, but I do, he taunted. And I'll make sure you remember. You can't escape what you really are, Clara. The hunt never truly ended, it merely changed its course. Fear smoldered just beneath my skin. Could he really threaten everything I had rebuilt with Liam? Speculation darted around my mind, swirling with the stakes of the unfolding confrontation. Yet, hope flickered like a candle, a reminder of the love that had begun to unfurl between me and Liam amidst this chaos. Clara. Liam shouted, and I could see the urgency in his eyes, his body tense and ready to act. Stay close to me, just as I began to step toward him, determined to leave this moment of confusion behind. I felt the unmistakable brush of a hand on my shoulder, a lightning shock of familiarity. It was Priya, her face devoid of her previous arrogance, replaced with concern as she leaned in to whisper urgently, "You need to trust me, Clara. Not everyone here is your enemy." I looked back toward her, surprised. In this moment of chaos, she appeared genuine, her eyes searching mine as if trying to help me navigate the spiraling uncertainty. "Clara, please," Kara said, her voice steady. "We need to get out." I can feel the tension building. Before anyone could react, the man took a step backward, a glint of mischief sparking in his eyes. "You think you can run, but let's see how far you can go before the truth comes knocking." A shadow flickered behind him, and as he turned toward the movement, I took a shaky step back, breath catching in my throat as the door swung open again, an unexpected figure rushing in. "No!" I gasped as I recognized the face of someone I thought I'd buried deep within my past, someone who held the key to more than just my own fears. The weight of a revelation that could shatter the fragile moments of hope began to settle in my chest, the spiral of chaos churned tighter, racing towards an uncertain precipice. I was about to find out just how deeply the past intertwined with the present and how quickly everything I had fought for could unravel. The moment froze, suspended in a thin veil of uncertainty as recognition washed over me. There he stood, Jake, a specter from my past that I had prayed vanished into oblivion. His presence ignited a tumult within, embers of nostalgia mingling with the flames of unresolved pain. I wanted to retreat, to shield my heart, but the pull of his gaze anchored me in place. "Clara," he breathed, his voice laced with disbelief, as if he had stumbled into a dream from which he feared waking. "I thought I'd never see you again. What are you doing here?" I managed to whisper, the question laden with accusations. My body tensed as I felt the ground shift beneath my feet, with Liam's hand still gripping my arm, a steel tether amidst the chaos. "Don't," the man in dark clothing warned, his tone urgent as he shifted his weight, clearly unsettled by Jake's sudden appearance. "You think you're safe? You're running out of time." The atmosphere chilled, a palpable wave of dread draping over us like a shroud. It seemed as if the air itself had thickened, conversations faded into awkward silence, and the stares of cafe patrons bore down on us, an audience to our turmoil. Jake took a step closer, and recognition washed over his features, mixed with concern. "What's going on? Clara, you look petrified. Is this your doing?" Liam glared at Jake, a surge of protectiveness radiating from him. I could see he was poised for action, an unflinching knight ready to defend against phantoms of my past. No. I exclaimed, desperation in my tone. "He has nothing to do with this." I turned back to Jake. "You shouldn't have come here," but no matter how hard I tried to convey that, the growing unease between the men thickened, pulsating with unspoken tensions that rippled through the cafe. Once again, I felt caught in an unforgiving tide, memories crashing against the walls I'd built, with Jake and this dark figure embodying my past and present in the most confusing spectacle. "I came to warn you," Jake said calmly, his eyes darting toward the man who had begun to circle us like a predator. "We don't have much time. You need to listen." "Listen to what?" I felt blood drain from my face. What could you possibly say that would change anything? I remembered the stories I had buried, the secrets Jake knew. Would this moment expose them all once more? "This is bigger than us," Jake insisted, and his eyes bore into mine with an urgency that sent shockwaves through me. "You have to trust me. The truth is much more dangerous than you can imagine." A flicker of uncertainty ignited in my gut. While I knew the man before me was the embodiment of a deep-rooted betrayal, Jake had always been my anchor back then. His loyalties were forged in moments of laughter and whispered promises, even amidst the chaos that had torn us apart. "I can't trust anyone right now," I said, tears pricking the corners of my eyes. The past had been a storm, but how could I weather this new tempest pulling us all together? "Clara, I know you're scared. But denying it won't change anything," he pressed, stepping in a little closer, his voice dropping to a hushed intensity. "They're not just threats from the shadows. They're consequences of choices we've all made." With the sense of urgency rising, I turned back to the man in dark clothing, who was now watching us with a smirk that sent chills down my spine. "What do you want from me?" I asked, the tremor in my voice belying my attempt at bravery. "You think I'm still that person? You have no power over me. Is that so?" He replied, an edge of amusement coloring his words. "What makes you think that the life you've built can withstand the truth?" A reflection of my fears loomed large in his eyes, echoing memories I had fought to overcome. The once vibrant colors of my life dimmed at his words, revealing fractures I thought were healed. Before I could respond, the atmosphere shifted. Priya stepped fully into my view, her demeanor suddenly fierce. "Clara is stronger than you think. We've come too far to let our pasts define us." The unexpected resilience in her voice shimmered like a beacon in the dark, igniting a spark of rebellion in me. "You won't take anything from me," I declared, anchoring my will against the looming shadows. "I choose who I am now." The man scowled, losing the playful confidence he had wielded. "You can choose, Clara, but I promise you, the deeper truths will come clawing back, whether you're ready for them or not." Just then, the door swung wide again, and a sudden commotion erupted as a group of rowdy patrons entered, catching everyone's attention. In the blink of an eye, the ambience shifted. Conversation surged back to life, drowning out the tension-filled silence lingering around our group. But as I attempted to reorient myself, my heart plummeted when I caught a glimpse of someone I never expected to see. Not now, not here. The familiar face was a direct line to my past, carrying with it a revelation that felt like a freight train barreling toward me, ready to strike. "Jake," I breathed, a concoction of fear and intrigue bubbling to the surface. "We need to." Unexpected revelations were about to collide in this moment where past and present converged. Could I still trust in the fragile threads of hope I had sought to hold on to? The shadows loomed large, ever more present, as the intricate web of fate tightened its grip around us, pushing inexorably toward a reckoning I had not foreseen. I felt my heartbeat quicken, a staccato drum echoing within the confines of my chest as I turned to face the newcomer. The world around me faded, and only the man entering the cafe remained vivid. Derek, with his easy smile and bright eyes that had once offered me solace. "Clara?" His brow furrowed, genuine confusion rippling across his features. He glanced between Jake and Liam, assessing the palpable tension hanging thick in the air. "What's going on?" "No time," Jake snapped, urgency transforming his face into a mask of determination. "You shouldn't be here, Derek. Clara doesn't need another complication right now." A wave of panic surged through me. Derek had once been a refuge, a breath of fresh air amidst the chaos of my life with Jake. But that had been then, and this was now a realm of heightened stakes and buried truths. "Clara," Derek's voice cut through the noise, warm and implacable. "What's happening? You look pale." He stepped closer, concern dancing on his features as he reached out, hesitating just before touching my arm as if fearing the fragility of the moment. "It's complicated," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. The words felt heavy, laden with unseen burdens. With a glance at Priya, who stood resolutely next to me, I drew strength from her unwavering presence. "Complicated," Derek echoed, his eyes flaring with disbelief. "God, Clara, when is it not? First Jake reappears, and now this whatever this is." "Derek," I said firmly, gathering whatever resolve I could muster. "I need you to trust me, to trust my choices. I can't afford any more complications." A flash of hurt crossed Derek's face, but it was replaced quickly with understanding. "I never stopped trusting you, Clara. But I can't just stand by and watch you get pulled into something dangerous." The unfamiliar man shifted, his expression darkening at the mention of danger, as if tasting the word on his tongue. "Save your breath, Derek. Clara is far more involved than you realize." "Shut up," Jake interjected, stepping protectively between me and the manned night once more, resolute against the shadows threatening to envelop us. "Do you think I'm afraid?" I interjected, surprising even myself with the steadiness of my voice. "I've spent too long running from the past. I'm done hiding." But inside, doubt crept in, its icy claws wrapping around my heart. The shadows were closing in, each whisper a reminder of all I sought to escape. With the sizzling tension hanging in the air, I feared what else could be revealed, what other ghosts could emerge. There was an ache in me that I thought had healed, but the vast chasms of my heart were being laid bare, ready to be filled with memories and unspoken truths that echoed like distant thunder. The environment shifted once more, and amidst the rising cacophony, Priya reached out, her hand gripping mine. "Clara, stay present with me. Let's face whatever is coming." Together, for a fleeting moment, I felt a sense of warmth surging through our entwined fingers, the flicker of hope igniting in the darkness that surrounded us. But as easily as it came, that warmth was overshadowed when Derek shifted dejectedly, his voice trembling. "And what about us?" His question hung in the air, suspended in the charged atmosphere, as the emotions bled out the promise we had shared, feeling fragile and thin like gossamer threads. "Derek," the weight of my uncertainty threatened to swallow me whole. Did I still want what we had? The longing I had for simplicity cracked and splintered as Jake's gaze bore into mine with a mix of regret and redemption. A bond that once felt seamless now tangled and unraveled before me. "Clara," Jake called softly, his voice powerful yet hurt, reaching across the chasm of my indecision. "You don't have to face this alone. Not with me, not with anyone who cares about you." But what did I truly want? The past entwined too tightly with the present, and the specter of old decisions loomed large. I could feel the hidden truths clawing their way back, and I knew it wouldn't be long before something would shatter the delicate balance I desperately sought to maintain. A sudden crash interrupted my thoughts. A chair toppled over, a reminder we were not alone. Eyes turned towards us, curiosity mingling with concern as the café patrons observed the drama unraveling. I was a puppet strung between two entities, tethered to my past, unwillingly anchoring into a future that felt like a sinking ship. Then, as fate would have it, seconds before time would once again spiral out of our control, the dark-clothed man smirked with unsettling confidence. "The truth is here, Clara. Whether you're ready or not, it's coming for you." With that dreadful proclamation, the ground seemed to shift underneath me, reality threatening to split open. Each fragment of our conversation reverberated against the looming danger, and I was left teetering on the edge of an emotional cliff. Would I even have the strength to face what lay ahead? In the whirlpool of my heart, the fear and hope danced dangerously close, and only time would reveal the depths of their entwined fates. As the café patrons began to murmur among themselves, a tight knot of tension coiled in my stomach. The strange man's words felt like a threat, a clarion call heralding the chaos yet to come. I searched the faces around me, revealing a blend of concern and curiosity in their eyes, yet none reached out to pull me back from the precipice of uncertainty. "Derek," I said, desperation threading through my voice, "I don't want to fight with you. This isn't what I intended." I could see the disappointment etched into the lines around his mouth, deepening the ache in my chest. "Intention doesn't change reality," he replied softly, the warmth in his tone retreating, replaced with a bitter clarity. "You're caught in something bigger than you, and I can't pretend it doesn't matter." In an instant, Jake shifted, his protective posture jutting forward again. "Derek, you don't know what you're talking about," he growled, muscles coiled with barely suppressed rage. The air thickened with unspoken grudges and old wounds flared bright, demanding acknowledgement. "Perhaps someone should enlighten him, then," the man said, dark amusement curling his lips. "Clara is at the heart of something that could shatter her world and hers alone." The café noise blended into a dull roar, my thoughts spiraling into turmoil. What had I become? A fragile flower caught between the winds of past love and looming threats. I remembered hers bursting forth in petals they bloomed in chaos but were beautiful all the same. And yet, standing here, I felt like a withering stem bruised, barely clinging to life as whispers of betrayal and fear encircled me. "Are you going to tell him, Clara?" The unsettling man taunted, leaning casually against the counter. "Or will I have to?" Secrets are best when shared. After all, with every word he spoke, the weight of expectation bore down on me until it became nearly unbearable. "What do you want from me?" I finally shouted, the sound reverberating through the café, silencing the crowd with an abrupt snap. "Only the truth," he replied, his voice dripping with a mocking tone. "The truth about who you are and about the life you've tried to leave behind." A shiver danced down my spine at his insinuation, the implications of his words wrapping around my throat like a vice. In my heart, I knew I had buried pieces of myself in the soil, the memories, the pain, the love that had once defined me. But was it truly buried, or simply waiting for a storm to uncover it once more? "Enough." Priya's voice cut through the simmering chaos, her grip tightening on my hand. "Clara deserves better than this. All of this. You don't get to dictate her choices or force her into your twisted narratives." For a fleeting moment, I took solace in Priya's fierce loyalty. It was an ember of hope in a fading fire. As I steadied my trembling breath, the atmosphere shifted slightly, an unspoken understanding between us, a vow to stand united in the face of uncertainty. "Derek, please," I implored, meeting his gaze where disappointment battled with concern. "I don't want to rehash what's already hurt us. Let's not let this man take that from us, too." "I can't just sit back, Clara," he replied, desperation mixed with a strange resolve. "I won't lose you to this, whatever it is. What if the truth is worse than anything we've faced?" I countered, my heart pounding louder than ever, a constant reminder of the chasm weighing down upon me. "What if everything I believed about myself is nothing but a lie?" The man chuckled, a dark sound that didn't belong in this place of fleeting camaraderie. "Ah, Clara, isn't that the million-dollar question? But you'll have to confront it sooner or later. You're playing a dangerous game. One false move and it could all come crashing down." As the ominous dread pooled in my chest, I felt the fragile strands of my choices fraying in the atmosphere. Each heartbeat thumped a reminder of the crossroads at which I stood, torn between longing and fear. "Are you going to allow him to control this, Clara?" Jake pressed, his gaze softening with concern. "You have to be brave enough to face it head-on, no matter how painful it may be." Those words settled over me like a cloak, heavy with the weight of impending decisions. In that definitive moment, I understood that the choices before me could lead to liberation or ruin. But a seed of rebellion sprouted within me. Perhaps the truth, painful as it might be, could also lead to freedom. Before I could voice my resolve, however, the strange man stepped forward, the malice in his grin widening. "Ah, but a truth once known never grows back to how it was. Are you truly ready to cut the roots and let everything fall away? Because I believe that once you learn that truth, there will be no going back, Clara." Suddenly, a loud crash erupted at the entrance, causing the café to lurch in surprise. All eyes turned as a figure stumbled inside, cloaked in darkness like a storm cloud arriving uninvited. But even amidst the uncertainty, I felt a flicker of recognition, a haunting familiarity that curled around my heart with anxious urgency. "Angela?" As she raised her gaze, the realization washed over me like ice water. She was living proof of a past I had never fully escaped. And standing there, the memories slowly igniting the fire of conflict between loyalty, secrets, and the truth I had yet to uncover, I knew that everything was about to change. The choice was not just between love or danger, it was about confronting who I really was and the remnants of the past that clung too tightly to my future. The café descended into an uneasy hush, the air rippling with tension as all eyes settled on Angela. She stood at the threshold, her silhouette framed by the harsh light from the street outside, each shadow on her face whispering stories of yesteryears we had once vowed to leave behind. My heart raced, each beat echoing the chorus of hope and apprehension. "Angela," I breathed, barely managing to keep the disbelief from my voice. Memories cascaded through my mind, laughter shared in moonlit parks, late-night conversations filled with secrets, and heartbreak woven into every goodbye. But what was she doing here? After everything, how had our paths converged once more at this moment of reckoning? Her eyes, wide and glimmering with a mix of fear and determination, met mine for the briefest moment, and I saw a flicker of the sister I once knew before life frayed our bonds. "I had to come," she said, her voice rising above the murmurs of the crowd. "You need to know the truth. All of it." Derek and Jake shifted, their protective instincts swirling like eddies around my heart, but none could shield me from the truth, invisible and looming like a thunderstorm. "What truth?" I managed, a trembling whisper, the back of my throat tightening with unspoken dread. With every step Angela took toward me, a mixture of emotions roiled within, love, anger, an aching need for answers. "Clara, you don't know the half of what's been happening," she said, her voice rising in urgency. "They're coming for you, those who want to silence you, to keep you from knowing who you really are." What was she saying? A million questions flared in the perilous silence. "What do you mean? Who is coming for me?" I shot back, frustration and fear braiding together into a complex knot within my chest. The strange man chuckled in that infuriating way, shaking his head slowly. "And look at that. The puppets dance, unaware of their strings. The clock is ticking, Clara. Are you brave enough to learn what's at stake?" Angela's breath was shaky as she closed the distance between us, reaching out to take my hands in hers. "Listen to me, please. There was a reason we left. I did what I could to protect you from everything. But now the walls are closing in, and you need to know who you are and why they want you." "Protect me from what?" I pressed, my pulse quickening. "What am I supposed to be?" "Two can't explain everything right now," she stammered, each word fraught with tremors of urgency. "But there are those who believe you hold something precious. Something that could change everything, Clara. You need to be ready." "Ready for what?" I challenged, the growing unease twisting in my stomach, fueled by the sharp realization that the ties binding my past wouldn't sever easily. The strange man, still leaning casually against the counter, smirked, clearly enjoying the unfolding scene. "Ready to reclaim your place, of course, among the chaos masquerading as society. You've barely scratched the surface of your true identity." "Shut up." Derek erupted, his voice loud and commanding, cutting through the tension of fear, anger, and confusion. "Clara, don't listen to him. He's done nothing but mess with your mind since he arrived. We can figure this out, together." But the weight of Angela's words hung heavy in the air. Her eyes, once filled with mischief and laughter, mirrored my own turmoil, revealing a stark truth I had desperately tried to suppress. Clara, please trust me. I wouldn't be here if I didn't need to warn you. They're already watching. You don't see them, but they're aware you're here, that you're alive. The truth is many things, but it's not always a weapon, it can be salvation. Hope and fear interlaced as I considered her words. In that moment, every moment of my past seemed to converge into the uncertain present, revealing a path shrouded in veils of doubt and shadows of deception. Did I possess a power I remained unaware of? And did it really matter if the truth was about to unravel the very fabric of who I imagined myself to be? Think, Clara. Jake urged, his voice tempered with concern. This is your chance. You need to choose whether to hide or to fight back. The world turned in slow motion, my choices weighing against the desperate urgency that emanated from Angela. What had I really buried deep within me, and was I ready to unearth it? Suddenly, the cafe's door slammed open again, and an icy draft swept through, sending a chill down my spine as my heart plummeted. A figure stepped in, cloaked in shadows, their intentions shrouded in secrecy. A glare settled around the room as I registered the familiar features, tightening the grip on my heart that it was my mother. I stumbled back, shock and fear vying for dominance within me. She wasn't supposed to be here, not now. Not when everything was teetering on the brink of unknown chaos. As she locked eyes with me, the silence became deafening, filled with the weight of unsaid truths and tangled pasts. In that instant of recognition, an entire world of unresolved pain and longing echoed between us. I could feel the trembling of the universe, each heartbeat signaling a shift in my reality, and I knew I was at the very cusp of everything unraveling or beginning anew. The air thickened further, charged with a tension so palpable it seemed to press against my chest. I took a stumbling step backward, my brain struggling to process my mother's presence. After years filled with hurt and silence, she had materialized at the very moment I was grappling with the shards of my fractured life. Clara, she breathed, her voice a fragile whisper that reached into the depths of the din around us. The café, once enveloped in hushed murmurs, now held its breath as all eyes turned to follow the raw sobriety in her expression, a grave invitation to confront the past. Why are you here? I managed, betrayal lacing my question. Looking between her and Angela felt like straddling a tightrope over a chasm of uncertainty. For so long, I had believed my mother's absence was an act of self-preservation for both of us, a way to break the cycle of hurt, but in this moment, it felt like a betrayal of a lifetime. What are you doing here, Mom? My voice wavered, fraying at the edges as anger bubbled just beneath the surface. You left. You chose to leave us. She took a hesitant step forward, her eyes glistening with unshed tears that betrayed a well of emotion buried beneath her stoic exterior. I had to, Clara. I had no choice. There were things, dangerous things, that you couldn't know while you were still a child. I thought it was for the best. I thought it would keep you safe. Safe? Safe from what? From who? My heart raced as I struggled against the whirlpool of confusion. Was this why Angela had come back? To drag all of us into a battle I had no idea I was fighting. Derek's hand gripped my shoulder, grounding me momentarily as the room swayed with raw intensity. A quick glance at him offered a fleeting moment of reassurance amidst the chaos. It's true, Clara. Angela stepped in, her tone altered, a hesitant plea laced with sincerity. You have to listen to her. There's so much more at stake than you realize. You can't let your anger blind you to the truth. But my gaze remained fixated on my mother. What do you know? What truth could you possibly have that's worth ruining everything again? Her mouth twisted into a slight frown, and suddenly, the irony surged through. Mesh was still the same woman who had walked away without looking back, yet here she stood, cloaked in layers of vulnerability, desperately trying to reconnect the frayed threads of our lives. I know now that love often comes disguised as danger, Clara. For years, I held you and Angela in my arms, believing I was protecting you. But the truth is that sometimes we must face the storm rather than hiding from it. What do you mean? I snapped, clenching my jaw as I fought the wave of emotions assaulting me. In that moment, the strange man strolled closer, his smirk fading into something resembling interest. "You're thundering toward the precipice of your identity, dear Clara. All the pieces you seek, everything that defines you are edging closer to the surface," and just as the tension peaked, a deafening crash shattered the stillness as the cafe front window erupted into a shower of glass. A low murmur echoed through the patrons, fear painting the atmosphere like a macabre art piece. Shadows spilled into the cafe from outside as raiders clad in dark clothes rushed in like a tidal wave, chaos unfolding around me. "Clara! We have to go!" Derek shouted, pulling me urgently, the terror in his eyes mirroring my own. My body reacted instinctively. The cozy cafe that had once encapsulated laughter and companionship was now morphing into a trap, suffocating my every instinct, but I hesitated, panic flooding my thoughts as I discerned my mother's desperate gaze. "No! I can't leave her. I won't leave her." My voice shook as I searched her face for reassurance that never came. Her eyes flickered with uncontainable fear as she struggled to maintain her composure. "Trust us," Jake urged. "Please, you have to believe we can protect you, but not if you stay blind to what's happening. We can uncover the truth once we escape. No. I won't abandon my family again." The desperation in my voice cut through the chaos surrounding us. Angela stepped closer, the air around us crackling with the urgency of the moment. "Clara, take my hand. We can face it together," she implored, the sincerity in her voice anchoring me, even as the raiders broke through behind us. The initial shock of the situation shifted, morphing into tangible fear as I weighed my choices. Before I could respond, my mother stepped forward, her chin raised defiantly amid the madness. "I'm not going to let them take you," she declared, reaching for me. "There are truths that await, and we won't hide anymore, Mom, no," I shouted as her voice pierced through the chaos, a battle cry against imminent danger. Our moment teetered on the edge of fate as the tension culminated. Just as I was prepared to make my choice, the cafe doors flew open wide, revealing an ominous line of identical figures clad in stark white uniforms. My heart sank as I recognized them from fragments of dreams and nightmares, an echo of a haunting familiarity. A chill of recognition swept through me. They were coming for me, propelled by intentions I had yet to grasp. I felt my pulse spike as clarity set in. You don't often get to choose your family, nor the battles they inflict upon you, and just then, the man stepped forward, tilting his head with an unreadable expression as his lips curled into a knowing smile. But Clara, you are about to learn something more profound than blood, something that's buried not within your family, but within the legacy you were born to carry." In that endless instant, the world blurred, time breaking into distorted fragments as I stood between the love of my family and the undeniable truths waiting to unfurl within me. With a deep breath, I took Angela's hand, preparing to confront the tempest ahead, the tumult of uncertainty pulling me ever closer to the heart of destiny. The air crackled with tension as I clutched Angela's hand tightly, my heart racing under the weight of all that was unfolding. The chaos seemed to ripple around me, each heartbeat amplifying the stakes, echoing the urgency that clawed at my insides. A cacophony of shouts erupted from every direction, the patrons scrambling for the exits as faces morphed from shock to panic. In that frantic dance of fear and confusion, I caught sight of my mother's unwavering gaze, her fierce determination a stark contrast to the turmoil swirling around us. "Clara, listen to me," she urged, her voice cutting through the din like a lighthouse beacon in the storm of chaos. "You must trust that we can face this together. No more running. This is where your true journey begins." A wave of uncertainty washed over me as I wrestled with the urge to flee and the pull of familial love that anchored me. Angela's grip tightened around my fingers, her eyes reflecting a mixture of fear and fierce resolve. "You're not alone, Clara. No matter what has happened between us, we can break these chains together." The dark figures closed in, their movements precise and threatening, a phantom of my worst fears brought to life. My heart thudded loudly against my ribcage, memories flooding back, the remorse over losses, the bittersweet ache of connection, and the thread of love that ran through the fabric of my existence. The man in dark clothing stood apart, a sinister presence hovering above it all, relishing the chaos kindled by our shared histories. Suddenly, in that all-consuming moment, clarity hit me like a punch to the gut. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every choice I'd made had led to this pivotal confrontation. If truth had the power to shatter, it also bore the capacity to heal. The realization washed over me like a cleansing tide, empowering me to confront the very roots of my identity and my past. Enough! I shouted, surprising even myself with the vigor coursing through my voice. The room fell into a sudden hush, all eyes locking onto mine, expectant yet uncertain. The enemy before me hesitated, momentarily caught off guard by my resolve. You don't dictate my life anymore. I will face what's coming, not as a victim, but as someone who chooses to rise and reclaim her power. A rush of determination surged through me, igniting the fire of hope within as I let go of all the burdens I had clung to for too long. I turned to my mother, who stood watching me with equal parts hope and apprehension. Tell me the truth. Tell me who I really am, I demanded, the truth clawing at my insides, begging for freedom. Not the version you believe would protect me, but the real truth. My mother inhaled sharply, her gaze softening as though she had finally found the courage to forge a path through the pain. You are more than what they made you believe, Clara. The world has layers you have yet to see. You come from a line of guardians, those tasked with preserving truths that could change everything. They will seek to take that away from you if you don't stand firm. A moment of silence stretched across the café, pregnant with possibility, as the implications of her words settled like dust in a sunbeam. Guardians? I repeated softly, reflecting on the weight of her revelation. The man in dark clothing had stepped back, his amusement replaced with something darker, a thin veneer of concern. Perhaps he feared the truth as much as I had. Yes, my mother continued, urgency propelling her forward, tone firm yet reverent. Secrets bind us, but they can also empower us. In your lineage lies a strength that cannot be extinguished. It's time you stand up for that strength. As I processed her words, I felt the knot in my chest dissolve, replaced with a cascading wave of clarity. I wasn't just a girl lost in a web of heartbreak, I was more than my past sorrows. The fight within me ignited, fueled by unwavering love and the company of those who stood behind me. Together, we were ready to reclaim what had been taken from my family, from life itself, and reclaim the love I had thought was lost. Together, I echoed, my voice resonating through the café like a rallying cry. Together, we face this. The tension in the air shifted as I took a step forward, releasing Angela's hand only momentarily to take my mother's. I felt the strength coursing through our link, a bond forged in sacrifice and resiliency, a thread woven through every moment that brought us back to this place now. I commanded, and without hesitation, we surged toward the darkness, toward the heart of the storm that threatened to upend everything. The man in dark clothing sneered, but as we closed ranks, I noticed the uncertainty in his eyes, a flicker of doubt. Perhaps he could sense the awakening of something powerful, something he had failed to crush under the weight of secrets and lies. With our hearts synchronized, we moved as Oni shield against the impending storm. And just as the figures shifted around us, ready to pounce, I lifted my chin defiantly, proclaiming, "No more running. I am Clara, and I will not be silenced." With that declaration, hope surged like wildfire, burning brightly among the chaos and casting shadows against the doubts that had lingered too long. The past may have haunted me, but from this moment forward, it would be a part of me, a story woven into the tapestry of my life, a story that could thrive in the light of truth. United, we plunged ahead, the unknown unraveling before us, but the strength we had ignited lit the path forward, transforming darkness into a radiant dawn. And as I stepped into the newness of what lay ahead, I realized that while the past had shaped me, it was the love I chose, the truths I embraced, that would ultimately define my journey. To love and be brave, that was my legacy, one I would embrace as fiercely as I could. Freedom surged through me, and I felt the world open up like the sky turning from storm to bright, unyielding blue. It was there, within the embrace of possibility, I finally understood. the real battle lay not in escaping my past, but in embracing the future, whatever it held for me. As we moved forward into the unknown, hand in hand, I whispered to myself, I am ready for my story.